Trevor's here.
Okay. I'd like to call to order the public hearing for April 28th, 2026. This meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Law. This meeting of April 28th, 2026 was posted on the website and on the bulletin board in the municipal building on April 15th, 2026. It has remained continuously posted as required under the statute. In addition, a copy of this notice is and has been available to the public and is on file with the Office of the Municipal Clerk. Please rise for the flag salute. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Wicker, roll call, please.
Ms. Santamore? Here. Mr. Cox?
Here.
Ms. Mill?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Voorhees?
Here.
Mayor Sidley?
Here. Okay. This time,
Now we call the public hearing to order. I'll make a little announcement, and then Mr. Hornick will have his chance.
okay, I'd like to call to order the public hearing pursuant to NJSA 40:69A-93 concerning the final removal of the township manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Hornicle, members of the public, this is going to be a public hearing for the contemplated removal of the township manager pursuant to 40:69A-93. Just for a matter of procedure, the township about 2 weeks ago adopted Resolution 90-2026, which set forth the rules of procedure for the removal of Mr. Hornicle. Those rules and procedure will govern today's hearing. In consideration, Mr. Hornicle is permitted to present witnesses, present exhibits, but Mr. Hornicle is not permitted to ask questions of the council. Similarly, the council is not permitted to ask questions of Mr. Hornicle. Mr. Hornicle, in the event that the council does ask any questions of Mr. Hornicle will similarly have the permissive right to thereafter cross-examine council as to any exception and/or question that they take. After Mr. Hornicle presents his case in chief, there will be an opportunity for public comment to question either in support and/or in opposition to the removal of Mr. Hornicle. Thereafter, Mr. Hornicle will have an opportunity to present a closing statement, after which the council will take action. No deliberation, no discussion will take place in executive session. Everything will be done on the record. So with that, Mr. Hornicle, the floor is yours.
Good evening, Council. Prior to getting started with my presentation, I just want to put it on the record that I do not waive any procedural defects or any other claims in relation to the March 17th council meeting, how it was conducted, my rights, or any other rights under New Jersey statutes, New Jersey common law, or federal law.
Understood.
Before we get started, I do want to remind the public that I was hired by the prior Township Council after an extensive executive search conducted by a professional firm where over 40 candidates were vetted. All of this information is on the record at the July 16, 2024 council meeting. Regarding Resolution 90-2026, which set out the procedural rules for tonight's proceeding, I do have a couple of exceptions. Number 1 reads, the hearing shall be considered legislative in nature. I take exception to that. Council is acting both in an executive capacity by pressing allegations against my performance and in a judicial capacity in convening the hearing and making legal determinations as to my employment. Point number 2 says the Township Council will not produce any witnesses or present any matters on its behalf. Council has decided to dishonor my due process rights. Due process entitles an employee to notice of the charges and an opportunity to be heard, which we're doing here tonight, but it also entitles me as an employee to discovery of proofs and documentation. Council has flatly denied me the right to discovery that I submitted a request on March 17th. So that's on the record as well. Okay, I'm going to do my best to stick to the facts here. We're going to go point by point from resolution, I guess that was Resolution 76-2026. The proffered reasons for my removal, we're going to go one by one. Number one, council has lost its confidence in the municipal manager, particularly in relation to the 2025 municipal budget and the decisions affecting said budget, in addition to receiving a 2026 budget late and above the cap legally allowed. With this charge, I am being criticized for the 2025 budget, which had a $3.3 million gap on a $26 million proposed budget. Three of you members of council weren't on the council that approved that budget, and the other two of you actually voted to approve it. Budgets are policy documents of council. Your criticism of me is unsupported with respect to the 2025 budget. We had 5 executive sessions, 5, where we discussed the 2025 budget. Ultimately, the budget that was approved was the budget that all 5 council members voted upon. For 2026, your statement that the 2026 budget was late and above the cap legally allowed is an invalid statement. You introduced, for the record, you introduced the 2026 budget that is substantially similar to the budget I sent you on March 9th. I sent an initial budget on February 27th. Nothing in the local budget law requires that that budget be prepared and ready for adoption when the budget deadline is due. Further, this allegation is false under the Faulkner Act. Let me look at my statutes here. 40:69A-97.1. Manager's submission of recommended budget, where budget dates are extended. Notwithstanding the provisions of Section 9-17 of PL 1950 C-210, which is 40:69A-97. In any local budget year for which the budget dates are extended pursuant to Section 1 of this Act, the municipal manager of a municipality governed under the council manager plan pursuant to PL 1950, Chapter 210, which takes advantage of such extension, shall submit to council his recommended budget not less than 16 days prior to the extended date for the introduction and approval of municipal budgets. By way of local finance notice 2025-18, the Department of Community Affairs extended the calendar year 2026 budget deadline for introduction to March 31st or the first meeting thereafter. You received a legally valid budget from me on March 9th. So this charge, this first charge, is legally deficient and it should be stricken. Second charge. The municipal manager has not satisfactorily or successfully implemented policies of the Township Council for the proper administration of the affairs of the municipality. Since council refused to provide discovery, I have no idea what so-called policies of town council were not implemented, or successfully implemented, or satisfactorily implemented. Since I'm not allowed to, if I was allowed to ask you questions, I'd ask any of you if you could name any of these policies. I'll get back to that later. Charge number 3, the manager has not communicated with and reported to Township Council as a whole in a manner acceptable to a majority of the members of council. On January 15th, at a regular weekly meeting with the mayor and deputy mayor, the mayor and deputy mayor directed me to limit my communication with other members of council and told me that they would communicate certain sensitive information to the other members of council. For the record, not a single one of you contacted me to indicate I wasn't communicating sufficiently. In the almost 50 days I worked for you in 2.5 months, I sent you over 140 group emails. I sent another 61 emails to the deputy mayor and 52 to the mayor, along with 47 group texts to the mayor and deputy mayor, and many other group texts amongst other members of the council where either the mayor or deputy mayor was copied, as well as emails. To state that I haven't communicated enough is plainly false. Charge number 4. The township manager has provided incomplete and untimely information necessary for council's review and consideration of various matters, including the 2025 and 2026 budget. Because I don't know what other various matters there are, at least I can respond to the ones on the budget. I reiterate what I stated earlier, that 3 of you weren't on council last year and didn't participate in those 5 executive sessions where the budget was discussed. For 2026, I met with 3 of you separately on March 6th and March 9th, and I had loads of budget materials which I offered to you for review. When I explained how I was able to close the $1.3 million 2026 budget gap, you proceeded to thank the CFO. Other than Councilman Cox, who requested budget information from 2025, none of you asked for any budget documents. Last year's council asked for various reports in preparation for the budget, all of which were supplied. Don't take my word on it. Ask them. Charge number 5. Township manager has failed to advise Township Council on significant and time-sensitive matters impacting public safety, community welfare, and municipal operations. I reiterate my response to number 2, where I have no discovery. There's no specifics here. I challenge you to identify any matters impacting public safety, community welfare, or township operations where I didn't timely inform you. Don't respond to me just because I'm asking. Tell the public. If I've done this, give the public some concrete examples. Number 6. The township manager has provided insufficient guidance, coordination, and administrative leadership to the township council in connection with major initiatives and time-sensitive matters. Again, I'm pining to know what administrative leadership that I withheld or took too long to provide you. Can any of you name 2 matters or give me a fair opportunity to respond to this one? Number 7, the township manager has failed to implement policies and directions established by the township council for the proper administration of municipal affairs. I think you're kind of convoluting the responsibilities here. The township manager runs the day-to-day operations and is the executive. Council, this implies that you're a township committee, and you're not. You're the legislative branch of municipal government, and as the legislative branch, your job is to set policy. I looked over every single agenda this year through March 17th. So what purported policy or direction did you as a body, legislative body, issue that I have failed to implement? There's nothing, because you can only act as a body, and there's nothing that you have directed me to do that I failed to implement. Number 8, the township manager has failed to aquatically inform and provide adequate and consistent information to township council with information provided to third parties and residents, particularly with respect to the handling and deed restriction extensions and related compliance matters. So there's a typo in there, aquatically. Do anything aquatically. I find this to be a very peculiar charge. So the public is aware, Township Council designated the township solicitor to be the lead for affordable housing, not the township manager. Consequently, I took direction, presumably with council's blessing, from the township solicitor. The prior solicitor directed me to send emails to corporate landlords about deed restriction extensions. I also drafted letters to 74 potentially eligible residents, which I sent in draft form to all of council and to both the prior solicitor and the new solicitor. Consequently, I discovered that deed extensions couldn't be used for fourth round affordable housing compliance. And Mr. McGuckin confirmed this fact in early February. But you still don't believe me or him, as you made a special trip to the Department of Community Affairs, which told you the same thing I told you in early February, that you can't use deed restriction extensions for the fourth round. Number 9, the township manager has failed to properly advise, develop, and recommend the compensation and salary adjustments within the township, including the fiscal impact of such recommendations. At the beginning of this year, I sent you a memo with 2026 salary adjustments for non-union support staff and managers. According to the 2025 salary ordinance, it is within my authority to do so. I also shared with you the 2025 salary and wage materials, which demonstrated for support staff that low wages were causing turnover in support staff positions, most of which I will note are held by women. I assured you that the 2026 budget could afford the non-union and projected union wage increases. For a period of 8 years, from 2006 to 2013, I crafted $80 to $90 million salary and wage budgets for Burlington County government, in addition to overall county budgets during the Great Recession in a range of $210 to $217 million. The 2026 budget I delivered to you on March 9th had a $200,000 total increase to the salary and wage budget. And when I sent you the budget, I explained that the salary and wage budget was actually flat for 2026 with those raises in there, but the exception was a one-time expense of $200,000 for a 27th pay for hourly employees. That only occurs once every 12 to 13 years. So to say that I delivered a budget with salary and wages that we couldn't afford when they were practically flat, it's just plain false. Number 10, the township manager has failed to perform his duties in a satisfactory manner to municipal council. Again, I don't have any way to contest that other than to say I was never given any performance expectations other than the two I mentioned at the March 17th meeting. Nothing was ever given to me in writing. Nothing was ever given to me orally where I was to take notes. Hey, this is what council wants from you. So I guess if I don't know what the expectations are, then anything you say I fail to live up to. I think most residents listening to this meeting would conclude that many of the allegations against me lack any substantiation and that I've successfully refuted the few charges where specifics were provided. As far as what now, I have a proposed resolution for your consideration. As the governing body, while I vehemently disagree with the actions you have taken via Resolution 76-2026, I do recognize that it's your right to determine whether to employ a full-time manager, a part-time manager, or to enter into a shared service agreement. Rather than to continue to damage my reputation, here is the resolution I propose without prejudice, precedent, or waiving any of my legal rights. Whereas NJSA 40:69A-89 and 69-92 provide the Township Council shall appoint a municipal manager and outline the general qualifications for the position. Whereas the Uniform Shared Services and Consolidation Act at NJSA 40A-65-1 and expressly 40A-65-4 authorize municipalities to share the services of municipal personnel. And whereas by way of Resolution 91-2026, Township Council has approved a shared service agreement with the Township of Southampton for the provision of a municipal administrator to serve the township on a part-time basis in place of the township manager. And whereas on account of the shared services agreement with Southampton Township, council no longer wishes to employ Daniel Hornicle as full-time township manager. Whereas should this resolution be approved, Daniel Hornicle has indicated on record that he waives any further hearings related to his removal from the position of township manager. Be it resolved that Daniel Hornicle is hereby suspended from the position of township manager in accordance with 40A, sorry about that, Pat, I made a mistake there, 40:69A-93, pending a final vote of this council upon his removal from office. Be it further resolved pursuant to the aforementioned statute that Daniel Hornicle should continue to be paid the balance of his salary in an event of a final resolution of removal is adopted. He should be paid his salary for a total of 3 calendar months following the adoption of this resolution. Be it further resolved that Resolution 76-2026 is hereby rescinded in its entirety. I would urge you, I'm not going to belabor this much longer. I'm not going to give you more than what I have to say in the next minute or two. I'm not up here taking pot shots. I would urge you to take the opportunity to accomplish what you're trying to get done without personally attacking my performance. As I stated on the record on March 17th, it is undisputed that I put my heart and soul into this township for a year and a half that I served, along with a number of contributions that have dramatically improved township operations. All this stuff is on record. I've enjoyed interacting with the residents and developing township staff to hopefully remain long-term employees because there's some really good people working here. My service has been honorable to you, and my service should end honorably. And that's all I have.
All right, Mr. Mayor, at this point, we do have to open up the hearing to public comment. They are allowed to make comments. That's it. There will be no responses from the Township Council. Mr. Hornicle, you do have the right to cross-examine any member of the public, whether they be in favor or for or against. The other question I have for you, Mr. Hornicle, is do you want them sworn in?
Excuse me, I can't ask any questions.
Correct.
And I'm sorry, Ms. Varga, is there a limit to the comment? Just to be fair to the public, is there any sort of time frame limitations or?
There's no time frame limitation. They're allowed to provide any testimony in favor, for, or against the removal of Mr. Hornicle in conjunction with preliminary resolution 76-2026, listing the charges that Mr. Hornicle has gone through this evening.
And this section is for these matters only, correct?
Only for this hearing. If
Right.
the public comment has anything to do with anything besides the subject of this hearing, because that is what this record is for, there's going to be a separate public comment for anything else after the hearing.
At our second meeting of the evening, correct?
Technically, at both. We have to have a public comment at both public
Okay.
meetings, so we do
Fair.
have a regularly scheduled
I
caucus
just want
meeting.
to let the public know.
I have a quick question. What was he reading from, the list?
He was reading directly from resolution 76.
No, when he was reading the criticisms, where was that from?
That is from the Township Council's resolution 76-2026, which was adopted on
Okay.
March 17th.
Okay.
So does anybody from the public want to provide any testimony in favor, for, or against?
Mr. Carnes?
Mr. Kearns, just please state your name, spell your last for the record.
Brian Carnes, 216 Church Road,
And only because it's a record, it's a hearing, I do need you to spell your last name.
Carns.
Thank you, sir.
I want to commend council for firing Dan. I really do. And I'm going to go through a list. I love if you guys said we could actually talk back and forth. If I say anything
No.
I'm wrong about,
He's allowed to cross-examine you. You're allowed to provide comments. So if you make a statement, he's allowed to cross you on the basis
feel
of that
free
statement.
to, Dan, if I have anything wrong here, okay? Give me a second. All right, it's been a long day. We actually lost a horse at the farm, had to bury him, and I had to get up here as fast as I could. Yeah, little man, rest in peace. So, a little disheveled too, guys. This was another poor decision by, I believe, the solicitor, the old solicitor, and our old mayor. It made no sense There was so much fire in Pemberton going on, and then we hire him. I don't understand it, but it was the first time that I realized there's a huge connection between the old administration and Pemberton Township. He does know the judge there, and he was clearly part of my mother getting roasted in court. There's photos of him with the judge. They know each other, guys. There's no reason that judge over there would have thrown the book at us, okay, like he did. He didn't even have a horse in the race. So that's the first thing that the community needs to understand, whether you care about us or not. And I understand you can't use what happened in Pemberton now, but I'm going to talk about it. We have 3 females up here, right? The women in Pemberton that were...
With all due respect, what happened in Pemberton is irrelevant to the Township of Medford.
It isn't,
So,
though.
he's
He's the manager of the township, and these things all went on there.
With all due respect, the Township Council's findings are contained in Resolution 76-2026 as a preliminary resolution. I understand what happened in the Township of Pemberton, but that is irrelevant to
All
this
right, let me
council's
cross that
consideration.
part out, man. I think you should have let me run with it, but whatever. It's okay. It bothers me. We are men. We're supposed to protect women, right? We are. Did nothing in Pemberton.
Again.
Could have blown the whistle. Fine, fair enough. Last time. All right, so let's just go to the performance part here in Medford, okay? There was a few things mentioned. I don't know if it was something about safety, but I want to start up with Medford Lakes. Now, we have a shared service with Medford Lakes for salt, okay? We've had it for, I don't know, I guess for a really long time. They're Lakers. They're our neighbors, right? We all love each other. We're out there for the Canoe Carnival. I'm sure they're here enjoying our town. I understand there was a shortage of salt, okay, at least for here. Most of the other towns were able to work it out, especially the Public Works Department and the manager. And I know this, guys, for a fact. They were able to find the salt. Whatever the case is, we didn't have enough salt to give Medford Lakes. But by what happened, okay, was basically what I heard and what was in the papers and everything else was, we basically told them to buzz off. We can't help you. And I think that right there is something to me that's just crazy. When we have a manager, I don't believe he's a Medford resident, I could be wrong, but you're coming into our community and you're pushing people around us. Second thing, the firing of the head of Public Works. Mike, just wink if I'm right, man. You didn't know. Nobody knew that he was canning the head of Public Works. My understanding, and usually the information I get is pretty correct, is when he did do it, people reached out and you couldn't even get a hold of him. What's going on here? How do you have somebody that has so much power that's firing people and there's no repercussions? I kind of understand the manager's the most powerful person and he can actually do whatever he wants, right? Is that sort of like this? He doesn't need council's blessing?
Again, there's no questions that are going to be answered. You can provide your testimony in favor, for, or
All
against.
right. The funny thing about the firing of the head of Public Works is, do you know what that opened up? A seat on the planning board that wasn't filled. That planning board. I don't know what happened. I'm sure I'll never. I had this idea that when somebody comes in like him, he brings in his own guys or people that he can trust. And I think that you guys should down the line look at who was hired under him, because it seems like it is. I believe it was build, baby, build, and that's why Prime brought him in here. It made no sense. You guys had 40 applicants, right? How are we bringing in somebody that has all this heat on him from Pemberton? I mean, all right, I understand we can't talk about that. I still want to talk about Pemberton. I think just for the victims over there, they deserve it, because we spit in their face, guys, when we hire them.
We're not talking about Pemberton.
All right. Let's get to the public safety part of it, okay? We have a well-respected resident here that slipped and fell on a crosswalk in Medford. It hits social media. There's a buzz, there's a little bit of a buzz there. The following meeting, when I come in here, your manager speaks about how it's the county's responsibility to clear Main Street. My understanding when he spoke was sidewalks and crosswalks. I know they do the streets. I came up here and I talked about it, guys. And how are we now back to blaming the county? Which is not the county's responsibility. Does anybody in here think that the county should be doing the sidewalks and the crosswalks?
Again, we're focusing on whether he should be removed or not removed.
Well, I'm helping you because
Just continue.
no snow was cleared. Somebody got hurt. And at the next meeting, the county's blamed.
Excuse me, just, if you're going to speak, you have to come up to the microphone at your time. This is a hearing.
Yeah.
So we do have to keep.
It is a
record of who's
county
speaking.
road, but we do Main Street. And even if, let's just say he was right. So what, do we just sit back and let people slip and fall in our community and get hurt? And we just wait for the county to show up? I've never seen the county out of their vehicles on Main Street. I know they don't do anything in Lumberton. So I just thought that was really disrespectful to this woman that slipped and fell. The walks were a mess. Whether you want to blame the Public Works Department or what, I think that even if you were to say, okay, the Public Works was having problems, well, I guess so, man. We removed the top guy. I don't know anything about the guy that came up under it, but I thought the whole thing was shady. And I hope, guys, in the future, and I'm not here to talk about the replacement, I hope there's real respect from the manager to the residents of this community, and we take care of them, and we don't just blow stuff off. The last thing I want to say is, I guess I can't ask you guys questions. The salary. Am I reading this right? $182,000 a year we're paying for a manager? It's not even any fun just come up here talking. I'm looking for the dialogue. Stop listening to him, man. The
Nope,
lawyers
they're
are
going to
always
listen
full
to
of
me.
it. All right, 182 grand, guys, is an awful lot of money. I don't understand how we got up to that number. My understanding was, and there was a meeting a few weeks ago, that I believe he was asking for raises and time off too. I'm not here to suggest that. Well, I am here. I think it's crazy, guys. I really do. I think you need to get the salary under control. And there is rumors out there, just so we all understand, that you guys won't even make paychecks. We won't even be able to pay the employees here at this point, the rate we're going, September. Nobody gets paid. So I don't understand the budget and all that stuff, okay? But I do know we're in real trouble if that's really true. Can't answer me, right?
There will be a public hearing
I gotta
on the
go,
budget,
man.
and you can ask that question at that time.
Yeah, no, we got to get together and talk about what happened at the farm with the horse. So I got a bolt. But I guess that's really it. I do think that it's not fair that I can't talk about Pemberton because we are talking about character. If you have a manager that's involved with so many employees, okay, I don't understand why we can't talk about that.
We're not discussing what happened in the Township of Pemberton. This hearing is for his work here at the Township of Medford, and whether he should remain as a township manager for the Township of Medford.
Okay. Well, I think that's a wrap, guys. All right, once again, and I know there's a lot of people not happy about this, and I think that they don't completely understand the scope. And those that did this hiring aren't here for a reason now. Think about it. That's all, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak during this public comment section on the hearing?
Both sides.
Mr. Hornicle, would you like this gentleman sworn in?
Hi, my name is Al Finkelstein. I'm both a resident and a business operator here in Medford.
Can you just spell your last name for the record, please?
Sure, Finkelstein.
And your address.
107 Pine Cone Trail.
Take it away.
Thank you. Yeah, just as a little testimonial, Mr. Hornicle, a year and a half ago, I contacted, my interaction with Township is rather limited. I kind of expect Township to operate and take care of services as they go along, and for the most part, I've found that that's been the case. But about a year and a half ago, right about the time Mr. Hornicle was hired, I contacted the Township about a light that was out, several lights that were out in our streetlights that were out in our development in Tamarack. The response was amazing. Actually, the response was done within 2 days at the most. All of the light fixtures were replaced. So I just find that was very responsive, and I think Mr. Hornicle deserves some credit because he was the person I contacted. I don't know Mr. Hornicle. I do know Mr. Dovey, and Mr. Dovey is a great resident of the township, and I'm sure he'll do a great job as temporarily, I guess, as township manager. But I do think Mr. Hornicle asked for a very reasonable request in his own effort to have council make a stand on his removal. One thing I want to make sure is really clear is that in any kind of work that we're doing, it's clear that there's budget issues in the township. If this is being done for budgetary reasons, I really hope that that's really spelled out, and we really get to an understanding of what we should expect as residents from this budgetary work, because that's the bottom line, I suppose. It needs to really reflect that in the final results. Township services should continue just the way they are, and I think Mr. Hornicle's done a nice job in that effort, and I hope those services continue the way they should be. Just as a side note, just recently in the last couple of weeks, I've noticed that trash removal has been sort of delayed a little bit. I'm not sure what the story is behind that, but that's just only happened in the last few weeks, and that's kind of gotten my attention already a little bit. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir,
My name is Robert Bob McGowan,
can you just spell your
12
last name?
Donington Boulevard, Medford.
And may you also
Heritage of
spell
Medford.
your last name as well, please?
MC, capital G, O-W-A-N.
Take it away.
Okay. I'm here to support Mr. Hornicle. I've known him for many years. I worked with him at Burlington County. Many issues, many committees, personnel matters, you name it. He's one of the finest individuals I've ever worked with. And believe me, I worked in government and the military all my life. I am a veteran, retired military. So, when I speak from experience. And this is one of the finest individuals I've ever known in leadership, and leading an organization, especially government. And he deserves a lot more credit than he's getting here, that's for sure. When I first ran into him here, when I was paying one of the many bills that I pay to the township over in the building, I ran into Mr. Hornicle, and it was like a great reunion. And we were talking, and one of the employees was there, and I said, "There's no doubt in my mind, this is where he belongs." Okay, they were my words. You can check with the employees to see if I really said that. I don't care. But this is one of the finest individuals I've ever known on many, many, many scores. And I stand here before council, before an open forum, as I stood before an open forum when they sold Buttonwood Hospital. I'm a former administrator of Buttonwood Hospital, Burlington County. Standing in defense of Buttonwood Hospital because it was an outstanding provider for services of all Burlington County residents and their families. So, again, I speak from experience, and for what it's worth with the people who are present here today, you know, you listen to people like Mr. Carnes, there's an old saying that, you know, you can't please all the people all the time. I don't think you can please him any of the time. And, you know, yeah, Pemberton, that has nothing to do with here. Whatever he's doing here, Mr. Hornicle, that's what you need to deal with. The only thing I ask, you know, we have a problem in this whole country. that the majority party, they get a bug and they just stick with it. They don't care. Our laws don't preclude it. So I'm just saying to all the people here present, real people, citizens, well, you're citizens too, shouldn't say that. And that's how you have to look at it, citizens of Medford Township. Anyway, I would bet my life on Mr. Hornick. I'd go into battle with Mr. Hornick. Now, he may tell me to go first, but that's okay. That's what leaders do, okay? And that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Sir, did you have your hand raised? Yeah. Okay.
Can you just state your name and spell your last for the record?
Yes, good evening. My name is Barbara Gardner. I live at 228 Forest Avenue. Gardner is Gardner.
Take it away.
Okay. I'm puzzled. I've been told that residents will not know what's going on because personnel matters are handled confidentially by council. That's fine. But in my imagination and trying to figure out what does this mean, how did this happen, I couldn't come up with only two scenarios, being clueless, based on my work as an employee with nonprofits and hospitals and in my 70-some years. One is that the township manager did some terrible financial malfeasance and council found out about it and you voted unanimously. That tells me something that, is serious. By all means, you must dismiss a person if that happens. The other scenario in my mind is that this is something that's been festering, maybe interpersonally for a year and a half, or maybe even before, I don't know, and that this has been going on behind the scenes. And if that's the case, in my own experience, people have come to me, my superiors or colleagues, and said, hey, Barb, we want you to do better here, or this is an issue that we've been having. Please don't do this or do this differently. So to me, that's a communication problem that has not happened amongst you all because I assumed that everybody works together, that you don't tell a mayor or a township manager, well, don't talk to everybody, just talk to this person. That sounds confusing to me, but I've never been in any kind of city government. But besides that, I want to give my history for a year more with Mr. Hornicle. He's been wonderful at any time I've contacted him. He's been amazingly responsive, professional, very helpful, not only on our issue in Lake Pines about our roads in the township, and the township, the entire township roads are awful, but that's not to be commented right now, as well as my position doing some projects for Medford as part of the Pinelands Garden Club. He supported our beautification projects by writing letters of support for what we're doing for the township. So I think his proposal, if I understand it, sounds to me very simple and maybe even generous. I wonder if this new joint services agreement or whatever it was called and the dismissal of our current township manager is actually going to cost the township more. I don't know how that will play out in the budget thing. It certainly, I think it's a very sad thing, and I wish something had happened before that could have prevented this. So thank you very much, Dan, for everything you've done for us and for Medford. Thank you.
Sir?
Please just state your name and spell your last for the record.
Kevin Sparkman, Sparkman.
And your
It's
address.
128 Bracken Road.
Take it away.
I don't have a lot of experience with Mr. Hornicle. I think I reached out a couple of times to the office, things related. I also live in Tamarack. I'm concerned about the process. Even listening, I've read the resolution. I've been to some other meetings, and I heard Mr. Hornicle's defense of himself. I don't know. And listening to it, it doesn't seem like there's this one smoking gun that's like, this is the reason that, you're firing or trying to fire Mr. Hornicle. Unfortunately, this township has a long history of sort of management problems, cycling through township managers, and it really hasn't been, pretty over the years. The last council meeting or the last budget meeting, was shocked to learn, about, once again, we're in this sort of fiscal crisis or facing this, fiscal crisis in the coming year or so. I don't think that's Mr. Hornicle's doing. I don't know if that's, implied as part of the reason that you're trying to fire him, or not. But I hope that more Medford residents really do pay attention to what's going on, right now with the budget, because it's just, overall lack of leadership of, this council and, your predecessors, on this board, that have put us in this situation. I don't really think it's the township manager's, fault. I am concerned about this process, though, certainly. The creation of shared services to bring Mr. Umba into the picture, it looks like it's just an on-ramp to bring Mr. Umba in as a township manager. And that's really troubling. When you look at his work history, his work record as a township manager, administrator, I would put Mr. Hornicle's, above that. And my understanding is that, in fact, you interviewed Mr. Umba and Mr. Hornicle for this job and selected Mr. Hornicle. So I hope it's not a quid pro quo situation. Mr. Umba is a political leader in this township, and he probably is, in fact, responsible for at least 3 of you for being on this council. That he had some role in deciding that you guys would be the candidates, the Republican candidates, to serve in this council. So, I think it's really troubling if we're heading in that direction. Assuming that Mr. Hornicle is no longer going to be the township manager, I really hope that you take this seriously in terms of going out and searching for a new township manager. And if Mr. Umba wants to throw his name into that search, then that's fine. But I think we deserve better. Medford, for once, deserves better in terms of a township manager. I'm not necessarily saying better than Mr. Hornicle, because honestly, I don't know if he's a good township manager, or not. But I really, do think that, this concern, I'm not one into conspiracy theories, but this concern that, this is driven in part by your desire, your efforts to bring Mr. Umba in as the township manager is really, really troubling. And I urge everybody to keep an eye on this, to hold you guys to account. Thank you.
Sir, please just state your name and spell your last for the record.
Sure. Zach Wilson, Wilson,
And your address, please.
51 North Main Street.
Take it away.
I'm not going to pretend to understand the Faulkner Act and how this all works between council and the town manager. I know that it's very complicated, and I don't envy your position of having to manage that yourselves and then deal with some type of employment situation with the manager. So I am a manager, though, and I do understand the complexities there. So I understand the role that you're in that regard. In terms of Mr. Hornicle and his performance so far, I think that there are absolute positives that you can look at since he's come into his position that I think should be looked at. having dealt with people at the township building before Mr. Hornicle came in and after, I can tell you that the vibe is different. It is a different culture, it feels like, when you go in. It is a helpful culture, and that was not there when previous managers were in charge. I find that it is not a task now to go to the town hall and get things done, and I do have to say that absolutely coincided with Mr. Hornicle coming in. I find that he is far more open to feedback than prior managers have been, and I think that should be considered. As far as some of the reasons that you've provided as to the separation, I think if some of those pieces are valid, I'm going to get to some of those in a moment. I think that there may be grounds for you to separate, and I don't know that I have enough information to speak to that, and I think that's part of my concern here as I'm going to continue on. However, I would like to just offer some devil's advocacy here for a moment in terms of what has been delivered. Having served on a subcommittee last year, we agreed to push for certain actions coming out of that in the village, including repaving. And I don't know how much of this resides under Mr. Hornicle and what he should be pushing for, but we agreed to come out and push the county for repaving after Himalayan Road construction was finished. Not after it was repaved, but after the construction was finished. That hasn't been done, and consequently, the line paving hasn't been done. We haven't seen additional signage coming out of that like we recommended from the subcommittee. So I do see deficiencies there. I do think that there has been a degradation in services that does predate the issues with Republic over the last few weeks. They have gotten worse for sure, so I do hope somebody at the office is taking care of that. But I have noticed that those predate the March 17th meeting, and we've had other issues with services, including brush pickup and other township services being deficient there. So from that standpoint, I do understand that. Again, I don't relish you and your decision that you have to make in this regard. I understand that it's tough as a manager. I do want to talk, though, as a manager, and having worked with, having managers report to me and guiding them through the performance management cycle, the list of reasons that I read in what you've provided read like a post hoc write-up that justifies the decision that you had already made. I have worked with many managers in the past that when they've decided they no longer want to have a person in their employee, they come up with the reasons after the fact. And there are often very little specifics that go along with those reasons. I do understand that from a employment standpoint, you may not be able to fully list out those reasons, but some of these reasons that you have in here, including failure to deliver instructions from the council and take action based on the council, that should be a matter of public record. And we should be able to list those out and see that information. I don't understand why that would be private. Just as with those managers that I have had to guide through those performance management cycles, I would ask to point back to the documentation of progressive discipline, of ongoing communication with that employee to both improve their performance and demonstrate the improvement of that performance. There should be records of that. Because we are talking about municipal management, those should be open records. And so there shouldn't be a problem talking about that. I would like to see that laid out. I'd like to see that be part of the record if we are terminating an employee. Because, as with the managers that I have counseled, if we don't take those actions, if we don't have that documentation, if we can't point to that history, we would open ourselves as an employer up to wrongful termination lawsuits. And I am concerned that if we don't have those same precautions here, that we are also similarly opening ourselves up to potential lawsuits that will cost us more in the long run than having Mr. Hornicle stay on through his contract. So I would want to know, as a citizen, as a voter, as your employer, do we have those records, and can we show that to prevent that wrongful termination lawsuit? And if we don't, then as I would counsel my managers when they're trying to take these actions, I would urge you to go back and work with that employee, take those progressive actions, demonstrate it on paper, so that if the time comes where those actions truly do warrant a termination, you have the backup to show that. So that way you mitigate that risk. My final note on this is that we all have heard about the budget issues that we are facing. I can't remember Mr. Hornickel's tenure and when he came on in terms of when the 2025 budget was passed. It would have been early in 2025, I assume. I don't think he was on the job for that long. I question how much input he was able to even get into that budget, and how much he should be held accountable to that depending on when his employment started. However, I do know that we are facing a crisis with our current budget. And you're about to switch horses midstream. You're going to go from somebody who knows our processes, who understands the budget, who was there when many of these figures and these studies that went into the current budget were put together. He knows that information, and you're about to let him go and bring on somebody who doesn't have that information. To use the interim services of somebody who does not have years and years of town management support. There are reasons that I would not want to throw my full support behind Mr. Hornickel, but there are reasons why I think it's valid to reconsider your decision right now and say that maybe we don't have to take drastic action this quickly. So, thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak during this public hearing? Sir?
How are you?
Just need you to say your name and spell your last for the record.
Justin McGinnis, MCGINNIS,
And your
54
address.
North Lakeside Drive, West, Birchwood.
Take it away.
So just to get it out of the way, this is my uncle, so it's personal for me. But as far as it goes, character-wise, I've known him my whole life. He's an honest, trustworthy Christian man. And I stand by him every day because I know he's a good man. And he cared, and he worked hard. And I know, there's a lot of politics involved. I've been around politics my whole life. My father was the mayor of a township. My mother was on council. I know what this whole system is. I follow the news. I watch too much, I just want you guys to know, he's a good, honest person. So I hope that whatever decision you make, you can rest assured that you made it as an honest, God-fearing person. That you're doing it in a manner that's honest and truthful. Some of the rebuttals, I felt there was a lot of lack of substance, with some of these charges on this whatever the term is for it. Yeah, I don't know. I guess that's all I have to say. I just feel, I've lived here 8 years. I love this town. I grew up in Tabernacle. I'm a Brown's County kid, so I just hope you guys do right by us, right by the township. Believe me, I hate the affordable housing stuff. I love this town, so please do right. Good night.
Would anyone else like to speak during the public hearing?
Hi, everyone.
Please just,
Jitinder Singh.
thank you. Just spell your last for the record.
Excuse me?
Just spell your last for the record.
My name?
Yes, your last name.
Jitinder Singh, I said.
No, just spell it, though.
Singh.
Thank you very much. And your address.
559 McKendeman Road, Medford, New Jersey.
Thank
Came
you.
out of tax season, and, there's always fireworks here in Medford, and I heard this news. This is fireworks, before 4th of July. I just think that we make rash decisions sometimes, and this looks like one. I will just let you know, my employer faced a wrongful termination suit in the past, and this smells so much. There's a lot of trouble here by doing this so quickly. Now, I've heard, I've talked to Mr. Hornickel a few times before. He's answered the questions that I've asked, but to have a candidate that is very politically motivated replace him so quickly, I don't think is in the best interest of this town. Doesn't look good for us as a town. You know, I'm talking, you know, regardless of political affiliations, we should not make rash decisions. As a council, I would say, whatever I'm seeing, whatever I hear, whatever I read, we're doing a better job than what was done in the past. People are being heard. There are things that are being, you know, changes are coming. But this is a very rash decision for a council to make. You have the power to not make it, to hold back, to think through this, and then, you know, consider every potential candidate in the long run who would, you know, and why are we replacing someone right now? What is the motivation behind it? That's what I have not been able to fathom or put together so far. So please, let's do the right thing. Let's wait. Let's not jump the gun. And this really looks and smells really bad. Politically motivated, I'm clearly saying that's what it looks like. And I hope it's not that. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Just need a motion to close the public hearing portion of this hearing.
Motion to close?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, Mr. Hornicle, just before you have an opportunity to provide your closing statement, there's just one thing that was commented upon at the beginning of your presentation, as well as members of the public, in terms of the process and due process. In the law, just for generally for members of the public and council, there's two different levels of due process. There's pre-deprivation due process and post-deprivation due process. Now, you're entitled to a public hearing or a hearing prior to being deprived of a right when it's guaranteed by statute, ordinance, or public understanding. Here, the statute which guarantees Mr. Hornicle pre-deprivation due process is 40:69A-93, which is what we're doing here. Now, in terms of this procedure, this exact process, when we look for what level of due process should be applied, we look at the statute first, and we see, does that statute spell out how this hearing should be conducted? The statute does not. But there was a case, Bowen versus Long Branch, and its citation is 79 NJ Super 177. Now, this hearing, how it's being conducted, is identical to the manner by which the township manager's hearing was conducted in the Bowen versus Long Branch matter, which this court reviewed. It's a published decision, so it's precedential, and found appropriate. So there's nothing nefarious about the manner by which this hearing, and just for the council's luxury as well, for why it's being done this way. This is the tried method, and this was the method by which a court has found appropriate. So just for that, that was the only point of clarification. Just for the record as well, Mr. Hornicle, you may certainly make a closing argument as to why I'm incorrect, as well as your closing statement.
It's a shame that Mr. Carnes has got some kind of vendetta against me. It's a shame that he keeps bringing up Pemberton Township because, as council rightly pointed out, it has nothing to do with Medford. In fact, just one side note on that, I never got to give my side in Pemberton Township. I never got to get deposed in those cases. So people can come up and say irresponsible things about what happened in Pemberton Township, ignorant things about what happened in Pemberton Township, but I was there. That has nothing to do with Medford. In Medford, nobody's come forward. None of the employees have come forward complaining about the township manager or wanting to sue the township manager. Pemberton's even a different form of government. My boss was the mayor. How many of you can tell your boss what to do? Believe me, I tried. I tried. Please don't say that kind of stuff. But again, that's different place, different time. I didn't ask anybody to come to this meeting. I came up here and I presented piece by piece what I could defend against and what I couldn't because of the lack of specificity. And I'm offering you, again, a reasonable opportunity to treat me with the dignity I deserve for the work I did for you, even if it was just for a short time for some of you. Thank you.
All right, right, so at this time, council, you're welcome to deliberate, speak amongst yourselves out loud with the public, what your thoughts are. Ultimately, there are two resolutions for you guys to choose between. The first, I'm just taking one and passing it down. The first is going to be a resolution repealing Resolution 76-2026 and reinstating Daniel Hornicle as Township Manager. The alternate resolution that you as a Township Council will have to act on is final resolution of removal of the Township Manager pursuant to NJSA 40:69A-93 and affirming the reasoning set forth in Resolution 76-26. In the event that the Township Council, you desire to act upon the final resolution and desire any of the reasoning set forth in Resolution number 76-26 to be stricken from the final resolution, you certainly may request to do so. Each number of 1 through 11 are ordered numerically on page 1 to page 2 and are copied verbatim from the preliminary resolution 76-2026. So at this point, the floor is yours to decide how and what your pleasure is. And certainly, please, take the time to read it. You have never seen these before, because I brought them today.
And, sir, just for the record here, we have gone into the previously scheduled time for our second budget meeting, but we are still currently, just for the public that's coming now, we're still in our first meeting that started at 5:30. We haven't started the budget meeting.
Correct. When this matter adjourns, we're going to restart. We're going to restart with the second normal caucus budget hearing.
Thank you.
Hearing removal and elections resolution. Oh, yeah. So you have two of these. Yeah.
I just want to say, I will say for the record, I do have grave concerns about acting on any resolution that we are just receiving now. I know that we just had the hearing, but I wish council would have been provided these resolutions either earlier today for consideration or on Friday when we received our packet for us to review, so we knew what action we would be taking this evening. So I do have great concern about action on either of these resolutions at this time.
I would agree. The same thing. I was in the dark about much of what went on, and I'm not happy with the whole process. It was supposedly people were going to call me and chat with me, but I don't think I got all the information. And it's important. And this might cost us more money by the time we're finished.
What would be
For the record, I mean, in Resolution 90-2026, which the council adopted on April 20th, number 10 does indicate that the Township Council would be taking action to either make a finding of removal of municipal manager or vacating Resolution 76-2026, and need only make a motion to either affirm the findings of Resolution 76-2026 to remove municipal manager pursuant to NJSA 40:69A-93 or vacate Resolution 76-26. So it was contemplated, just for the record, that this would take action.
Another concern I had was
Yeah.
that when people, and I've taught school for a long time, when someone is failing or not doing well, it's the responsibility of the people in charge to make sure that that person is able to improve. It shouldn't be, well, you're gone. And that's how most businesses are run. So anything else is just wrong.
Just so I understand, what are so you had stated that there's two paths, which you've handed to us. I believe there's a question of a third path where no resolution is adopted this evening.
The council does have to act this evening. The hearing is tonight. You are required to take action no later than 30 days after the hearing request was made, which was April 2nd. So we would have to take action by May 2nd. The next scheduled meeting is not until May 5th.
And it has to be public.
It has to be public. You're welcome to take as much time as you need to deliberate. You don't have to make a decision the second, but this is where we are.
And I know I'm repeating probably facts at this point that you've probably stated, but just so I have it very clear here, on March 17th, this body took the action to, you could just give me the proper words, suspend
This body on March 17th, took action to adopt a preliminary resolution for the removal and immediate suspension of Mr. Hornicle.
And it wasn't unanimous.
Understood.
That was a unanimous
It
vote.
was unanimous?
Yes.
Yeah, and took action and memorialized the reasoning which are set forth on
Okay.
numbers 1 through, I apologize, I gave Mr. Hornicle. that copy.
11, I believe,
11.
is the numbers you posted here. And due to the process by which a suspension and either possible reinstatement or termination take place, that we've reached this point at the request of Mr. Hornicle for a public hearing. That's why we're here this evening.
Correct.
Correct.
Naturally, in the event the council is inclined to adopt the resolution for removal and make a motion in a second, and that motion fails, then by operation of law, Mr. Hornicle will be reinstated. You do require a majority to pass the resolution.
So I guess I would ask you why you would,
Why were we whispering?
I can talk louder. I would ask you why you're questioning this, because when I spoke with you last week, we spoke about the different reasons we felt that he should be let go. And you said, those are my thoughts, he's
Yeah,
gone.
but I didn't say there were thoughts to let someone go. I said there were my thoughts. There are problems. He didn't, my picture isn't out front. There's problems here, but I don't like the way it was done. And that's all. There's problems everywhere. And I really don't know the man long enough. We've had very little time to talk or see anything he's done, but I don't like the way this was rushed through, and I'm not sure we won't be paying double salaries. Can you guarantee me that we're not? Like we're paying someone and then still paying Mr. Hornicle?
In the event the Township Council voted to remove Mr. Hornicle, under the statute, you are required to pay Mr. Hornicle's salary for 3 months.
Case in point. And he
I'm
wouldn't
sorry,
be
I hope everybody
working.
could hear me, but
He wouldn't be working during that time.
I apologize. I'm not exactly following. Are we able to discuss matters discussed in executive here or not?
no, everything has to be discussed on the dais.
I'm sorry, previous executive sessions.
No,
Okay.
no, you can't disclose what was discussed in executive.
Yeah.
You can discuss your deliberation if you're in favor of the removal or if you're in favor of reinstatement.
Yeah.
If you agree that the removal allegations should be revised, that is the subject. But anything that was discussed in executive is still under that privilege.
Yeah.
So your hands are somewhat tied as to those
Yeah.
issues.
And I believe even forgive me, at least a majority of the 8 folks that spoke today mentioned it's a personnel matter. It's a sensitive issue. There's confidential things that we can't discuss. That's why there's some vagueness to the matter. I don't know how to. I'm not. This isn't. I don't know how to speak about executive matters without speaking about them. But I will just state that I feel through the conversations that we had leading up to and including March 17th, the members of the governing body did have these conversations, and clearly because we voted on Resolution 76, 2026 unanimously, we felt these matters were sufficient enough at that point to suspend Mr. Hornicle, knowing that there was the opportunity for due process or for whatever the terminology is. And that's why we're here this evening. And so I'm very comfortable getting to this point, and I appreciate all the public comment, and I hope they can appreciate that these things are very sensitive because they do have confidential matters tied to them. But I'm just stating for the public that the reasons needed to state for suspension and potential termination were discussed. So I feel confident the list and the resolution as stated.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, Mayor, and on that note, I am going to ask that we pass the final resolution of removal of the township manager pursuant to NJSA 40:69A-93 and affirming the reasoning set forth in Resolution 76-2026.
Is that your motion?
That is my motion.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Roll call, Ms. Wicker.
Ms. Sedgmore?
Yeah, I don't like the way I always get called first, too, but that's another story. I vote that he isn't removed, that he remains.
So you vote no?
No.
Okay.
I should have my opinion.
Mr. Cox?
No.
Ms. Mill?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Voorhees?
Yes, aye.
And Mayor Sisson?
Aye.
Mr. Hornicle, thank you. I wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors. Mr. Mayor, maybe just give a couple minutes just for the public, for the people to clear out.
Motion to adjourn?
Well, we do, just for everybody in the public. 1 second.
Sure.
Excuse me. Everybody in the public, so we do have to open this hearing up to have general public comment, just as a formality, but then immediately after this, we are going to open up the next council meeting, which is going to have its own separate public comment as well, and anything can be discussed, including everything that was done today. So just as a formality, can we just open it up to the public? If anybody is willing to hold off on their comments until the second public comment in 40 minutes, that would just streamline things. If not, we can't stop them, but they are limited to 5
Yeah,
minutes.
not a problem. Okay, at this time, I'd like to open the meeting to the public comment section. If anyone would like to speak, please come to the microphone. You'll have 5 minutes. State your name. Mr. Dovey, if you can keep track of the time. No. Public comment during the public hearing, and then
We have to have two public, so that was the public hearing comment, so that was strictly limited. This is public comment about anything, including the acorn that fell on Main Street yesterday.
Yeah.
So it's just because it is a public hearing, we have to always allot a time for it. Gotcha.
Okay, so public comment section. Mr. Klein, would you like to speak? Okay.
Hello, I'll state my name.
You just have to state it, just normal. This is normal public
Okay,
comment.
not spelled or anything. All right,
Nope.
Jason Kleiman, me, again. Listen, regardless of your thoughts about Mr. Hornicle, I thought he gave you guys a pretty good off-ramp, with his proposed resolution. It sounds like you're gonna pay him for 3 months anyway, even if you remove him. And that's all he asked for. So I don't really see, why you kind of had to kick him while he's down. You already removed him. You're already paying him. So why not just at least give him his name back? And listen, I had my issues with him too, but that just seems insulting. And that's really all I had to say. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Sir?
I just want to second those comments. Oh, sorry. My name is Al Finkelstein. I spoke earlier.
Yep.
But I just want to second those earlier comments that the gentleman just spoke. Mr. Hornicle provided a resolution for your consideration, and I thought it was a very reasonable consideration. I don't know, was that offered to the council to vote on, or part of their consideration they were given?
The legal problem, Mayor and public, with that resolution is it wanted to consider an act that didn't exist at the time the initial resolution for termination was adopted. This public hearing was for those considerations.
Yeah. It seems like a technicality, and I have to say that I thought that was a very reasonable resolution that you provided. It was a very easy way for council to make a decision and move forward with the decision that you've clearly already made with less repercussions. That's all.
Jatinder, SINGH, 559 McKendeman Road. I mean, it just, every time I come here, you guys prove me wrong. I think that, you said you cannot discuss what happened in the executive session. I understand, but whatever happened in the executive session has to agree with general public. We elected you people. We put you there to work in our best interest. Everything you heard in this room today was not really telling you that, you should really keep Mr. Hornicle for the entire term. It's saying, don't pay 2 salaries. You have budget crisis, for God's sake. Why would you pay 2 people? And you've already decided on the replacement. And the replacement is someone who has so many failed attempts in Medford politically. I mean, how does that look for our town? That does not look good for our town. This is why I think more of you will be replaced. Deputy Mayor Voorhees, you've been doing a good job on reporting about the housing issue here. You and Mayor Cizik, I saw your hesitation about executive sessions, but you still went ahead with that resolutions. I just feel you have strings elsewhere, because even if you disagree, you can't seem to make your own decisions. Miss Milk, you just follow these two. And what Ray asked for here, Councilman Cox, what he asked for is some time to review a resolution. I don't know in any government, especially a municipal or in a public place, where you're not given enough time as a decision maker to review the resolution in front of you. There should be space and place for that. You should give them time to do that. You're removing somebody who's served the town. So there should be plenty of time to look at why are we doing this. And this does not, again, like I said, I was hoping, I guess, for a miracle, but what happens every time happened again. It used to happen with 5 of you sitting there, now it's happening with 3 of you. Your strings are elsewhere. You don't want to make a decision. We can see from your faces that you are forced to make a decision that you don't want to make. Well, then why can't we discuss about what happened in the executive session? You can say no all.
Legality.
I know, but again, you have a room full of people coming up and saying, guys, give this time. We need to understand, as someone who elected you, how are you going to pay 2 salaries? I mean, we're a mess as a town when I've asked budget questions, I've asked financial statement questions. I don't get a lot of answers. Oh, we have money issues. We have these issues. On top of that, you just created another issue. Now we will be paying 2 people. How is that solving our budget issues is what I want to know. You're creating more budget issues. Now, I'll say another thing. If you don't understand how municipal budgets should work or how you should control it, maybe you shouldn't be in those seats. I'm being very honest. Do a job that you feel you can do. Just because you want the power, to sit there and feel important and then fire people as you wish and not listen to your town, that's complete disregard for the people who put you up there. Now, Miss Milk, I've never seen your opinion. Those 2 make a decision. You follow along. You are one of the council people we elected.
I believe I vote first before them. So
She did.
Yeah. So, but what again?
She's a very strong woman. Don't do this to her. Don't.
Councilwoman Voorhees, listen. Can I talk? Can I talk? Can I finish? See how you feel. How you feel disrespected.
Ms. Singh, 1 minute.
Okay. We feel disrespected the same way. You just felt what we all feel sitting in this room. Completely ignored, disrespected, no regard for, the taxes we're paying. We are funding this budget. And look how easily both of you reacted. No one cares about our reactions here. You just completely bulldozed what we said. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
I'm going to go first. Yes. Okay. Ms. Singh, may I respond to your comments? Okay, thank you. I believe what you were referring to when you stated that I showed some level of hesitation was I was conferring with our legal counsel if I'm able to divulge matters that we all discussed, the 5 of us discussed, in executive session, because I think that those would enlighten the public based off your comments. We're not able to do so. That's the challenge of I'm rolling my eyes too, ma'am, believe me. I want to be able to discuss these things, but they were discussed in executive.
We should have had a town hall for this then, where we can discuss, where you can talk to us.
It's a confidential matter for personnel.
I mean,
Sexual harassment, malfeasance, stealing money.
But he asked for the
Just members
public
of the
hearing.
public, if you're going to talk, at the microphone.
So,
please, okay.
so I'm going, yeah.
Please respond when I can talk back. Please don't.
You can come right back to the microphone. It's still your time.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll do
Yeah,
this.
we're going to get to the bottom of this.
Yes,
This thing.
please, go
Yeah.
ahead.
So we struggle as council to be able to provide confidential information to the public because it's confidential. How can we possibly tell you what's going on an employee personnel matter? It's confidential. You
That's
can't-
fine. That's
so
fine.
There's no way we can have a town hall meeting about confidential matters.
Why won't you give every council member here time to review a resolution and just make a decision when they're clearly asking you for time? He's looked at it for the first time.
We all are, and I asked, what are the circumstances?
Well,
These are-
then
these are the
we
circumstances.
need to change something here, isn't it?
Well, these are the circumstances that we knew we were voting for on March 17th. We knew that we were voting to suspend with the opportunity for a public hearing, or any hearing, public or private. Mr. Hornicle chose public.
Then why have a public hearing when you really don't care what we have to say?
Well,
What
can I
difference
ask a
did that
question?
make?
The resolution, to what Ray was saying, it's just a question.
Sure.
He saw it for the first time, is that right, Ray?
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody must have seen it before, because it's typed up.
I typed it.
Okay, but nobody on this,
Nobody on this council saw it.
So nobody can read a resolution before it's presented and they just have to make a decision on it?
Not when you're dealing with the public hearing for the termination of the manager, because they're supposed to make their decision up there for the first time untainted after reviewing all the evidence. Now, that resolution, I'd be happy to give you, if anybody would like to give a copy.
You can have my copy
And
if you'd like it.
that resolution verbatim just spells out the procedural history that on March 17th, 2026, the initial preliminary resolution for removal and suspension was adopted. Thereafter, on, I believe it was April 17th, on April 2nd, 2026, Mr. Hornicle requested a public hearing. Pursuant to the statute, the public hearing has to be conducted no earlier than 20 days after their request, but no later than 30. So this hearing was required by law to be conducted between the window of April 22nd and May 2nd. So
Okay,
that's
I
a-
agree
no,
with
no,
you.
Just let me finish.
No,
So
I
then
get it. Listen,
thereafter,
I don't want to hear the law, but I get it.
No, but no, this is just what everybody for the public. So then thereafter, the resolution mimics the findings of March 17th, Resolution 76-26. It's basically a copy and paste. Here are the allegations. The preceding paragraph says they either affirm these findings and want to permanently remove, or alternatively, it says we hereby vacate Resolution 76 and reinstate. There's nothing in there of any substantive value that wasn't already in the record.
So let me ask you another question now, since you're saying that. So if you remove him, do you have to appoint someone right away?
No.
So.
I'm sorry, so when we suspended Mr. Hornicle back on March 17th, to everyone's shock, including Mr. Dovey, we put Mr. Dovey in as acting manager. That is where we are currently at. That Mr. Dovey is the acting manager.
And so, but we have not made a decision to bring anyone else yet, or have we, as a town?
We have administrative support through a shared service.
And how did we make that decision?
We've discussed that
With who?
previous,
With who?
Last meeting.
last meeting.
So,
And when the time comes for a manager, we will ask for resumes. We will ask for that. We will do interviews.
And
Mr. Umba is not leaving Southampton for Medford. It's a shared service. The mayor came, you may not.
But
have
there's
heard-
a
I'm
conflict.
going to answer your question. You may not have heard last week's presentation where the mayor came to our mayor and offered a shared service.
And,
He is not the manager.
there were other towns, and I do want to
There
answer
were.
the financial question here because it appears as though, and we are in a budget crisis situation.
right.
The cost of, I just want to make sure I'm using the right words here, suspending, terminating a manager under statute, that person is legally entitled to 3 months severance, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so we all knew that. We all
Correct.
knew that when we adopted the resolution on March 17th. We understood that to not incur additional costs, that we had a very small window to work with to provide support to Mr. Dovey, right? So when the 3 towns came to us, 2 were way out of whack. We had professional services that were provided to us, right, on the previous council to find a manager. Those didn't fit into our budget constraints. So we had one option, and that option was exercised. So the option to bring in a shared service to support Mr. Dovey, from an administrative standpoint, has no additional financial impact to us.
So you think that was okay for a candidate who was a political candidate in last election with 200 signs all over Medford, over and over again, few years now I've seen, okay to
Am I adding a
have
minute?
that person?
Am I adding the extra minute? Right.
Yeah,
Well,
I think
I
you
was
got an
called
extra
here.
10 minutes.
No, I just wanna make sure.
She
Mr.
has
Dovey,
Brian
you're
Carnes'
good.
clock at this
Right.
point.
I
Yeah.
didn't ask to be here. Now, if
Yeah,
I'm
Brian's
someone
not here,
talking
we
to
got
me-
plenty of time. So you've brought up the political question, right?
Correct.
And that's a very fair question for you to ask.
Yes.
I just want you to understand that Mr. Umba is also your neighbor. He's our neighbor. He's a resident of Medford.
I understand.
He provides these services professionally, and he's done this for his career. I understand you and others may not feel that as though he's, for whatever reason, and they could be personal or based off his work history, you feel he may not be the right person. That's okay. We can disagree on that. Mr. Umba is being utilized to a shared service with Southampton to provide administrative support to Mr. Dovey. Mr. Dovey makes the final decision. Mr. Umba does not make the final decision.
Okay, so now
And
here-
I understand.
I want to stop you right there for
You
one
can-
reason.
we're gonna go
because-
back and forth.
I know, because all of us here feel differently, and you feel differently, right? There's
Sure.
a disconnect. You might think he's a good candidate, but most of us in this room don't think that.
Yeah,
We
well,
did.
Okay, I'm sorry, he needs his time back. No, I'm joking. So, and as we stated in the previous meeting, this shared service or any shared service that we engage in, and that would go both ways. If we provide a shared service to another town, that other municipality has a 30-day out. If we feel that if administrative support to Medford at the cost structure we agreed to and the terms we agreed to is not working for Medford, we can end that shared service in 30 days. And as Deputy Mayor Voorhees stated, when we have the opportunity to interview for a full-time permanent municipal manager, all the things that have been brought up at this meeting and the last meeting and the meeting prior, we will go through a full interview process. But at this point, and I don't want to speak for Mr. Dovey, and I thank God you're here, but he is stepping in and acting as our manager during this time.
While
That's
still doing his
I
other
understand
job.
that. Here's what I'm going to say. Look,
Yeah.
Any procedure, any process that actually restricts the public in a government body from, helping make decisions is a detriment to any town. Let me say that first. Two, if council members sitting there are saying, we didn't see this before, and you're saying this is the law, maybe we need to amend that law.
no one on council saw either of
That's
these
a problem.
That Mr. Varga just explained to
I
us.
understand,
that that's
but-
the procedural
Then
way.
we need to reassess our procedures.
He just stated that it was a court finding that that's how this should be conducted. Ma'am, I know you missed it, and I'm sorry. Just for the record, Mr. Varga.
I know. I heard the court case.
Okay, so we can't do it a special way here.
I will tell you this. Listen, Mayor Sizik.
Yes.
I will tell you this. There are 20 different ways to do anything, right? Before you fire someone, who you hire, you have to look at the big picture. You have budget issues. All of a sudden, in the midst of that, we have a problem with an employee of the town. That's going to add to our budget issues.
It's not.
I mean, you think that.
The numbers are clear.
Well, the numbers in Medford have not been clear for quite some time. Well, I'm a numbers person, and I've looked at your
There's a-
financials.
There's a
Numbers have
shared
not been
service,
pretty.
there's a shared service agreement.
We-
Okay, and there's a statutory severance package offered to Mr. Hornicle, and the net cost of Mr. Hornicle's employment and the shared service in this calendar year budget are a wash.
Let me give you some news. Your fund balance has been dwindling over the years.
Sure.
You know that, and I know that.
Yeah.
Because I have gone, as a CPA, I've gone through those
Yeah.
financials. Your fund balance is dwindling. That means you are going down and further down.
Yeah.
So anything you do is detriment to, you're saying this has no impact. There's impact, not just from this, from other decisions that come with this.
We can
Listen.
talk about those as well, but
We have no,
you're a CPA, I'm a glorified line cook. I know there's budget issues. I voted every year to increase the budget so we can try to work our way out of these problems, and we're looking at rateable options, we're looking at other ways to
you
improve.
can't increase the budget if you don't control the expenses. You are a municipal government, you are
There
on
is
limited
no- okay.
amount.
We're gonna agree that the numbers aren't gonna lie, right? You're
Correct.
a CPA.
Correct.
I can read numbers.
Yes.
The net increase is zero to Mr. Hornicle's salary plus his severance and the shared service that we're paying for through Southampton.
So how many other decisions are we going to make based on the fact that our net increase is zero? Instead of focusing on issues like this, why aren't we focusing on something that can make us some money as a town?
Well, great question.
You know?
We actually are entering into shared services where our employees are being shared with other municipalities, and we've already worked out a tentative plan where the municipality makes money while the employees continue to make money as well, providing those shared services.
So, listen, Mayor Cizik, I will see when it translates in your financial statements.
Great.
We've seen great stories in town council meetings. It has never translated on paper. I will believe when I see the numbers. Again, I'm a numbers person. Until the story shows up there, I don't believe a word.
Okay.
People can tell me I have $1 million. I'm gonna show me the cash.
Great.
I'll believe you. I haven't seen that yet. Coming back to the main point, look,
Just before you continue, only because we are pushing 7:10 and we're
Yeah.
supposed to start, and only just.
all right,
No,
I'm
no, no,
gonna
just.
sit down.
There's another public comment in the
Yes.
next meeting. We just have to get through some of those things. So she will have an opportunity to continue talking.
I look forward to the other public comment
I
section.
talk. When I'm here, I do talk. But
Yeah.
again, please listen to the town that's
Yeah.
speaking here. We feel ignored. We feel you make the decisions you want to make. We feel you are controlled. Someone else holds the string. We see that. We're giving you our disagreements. It does not bother you at all that many people here are not happy with many decisions you're making. So thank you.
Thank you.
Again, just members of the public.
Who is next? All right.
So this is the end of.
This is the public comment section of the hearing that started at 5:30.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
So
we have-
all this is in reference to the
Now,
hearing?
this could be about
Any-
acorns on Main Street. Yeah.
That's what I was missing.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you for that
yeah.
clarification.
So there is a
I was
second
confuddled.
public comment, but we just can't, we have to start the
Yeah,
next
so this
meeting
is
first.
still the hearing, right?
No, this is
This is
anything.
public comment during the hearing. You can talk about anything you want.
Okay, well, so, I'll stick with what we just covered. So what we've learned here tonight is that you had a resolution with 10, 11 points as to the reasons that you're firing Mr. Hornicle. And none of those were really the reason, or they're part of the reason. The real reason are the confidential stuff that you learned or discussed in executive session. Is that correct?
The details that we can't discuss about the reasons were brought up in executive. That's why I asked, could we talk about that?
Okay, so is there going to be another shoe that drops when somebody in the township is suing the town, another employee is suing the township because Mr. Hornicle was doing something inappropriate, he was stealing money, he was, that there's something obviously that you guys can't talk about, because it wasn't covered in a confidential session.
Respectfully, where you're going with this question, you just nailed it on the head. This council cannot talk about anything that is considered confidential and with personnel.
Okay.
The time for the public hearing is over. This is the public comment section where you can talk about anything going on in the township of Medford. So
Okay.
Just
well,
be guided by
It
that.
just seems like there is going to be a shoe that drops, because that information usually does come out, even if it's been kept in a confidential session, executive session. So, yeah, it concerns me that, you've had your public reasons that you fired Mr. Hornicle, but there's actually more, behind the scenes that's going on. You're shaking your head now.
I have a headache now.
Your head hurts, that's why you're
No,
trying to shake your
I
head?
don't think another shoe's going to drop. I'm allowed to say that.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
thank you, sir.
To make.
Zach?
I hate these idioms.
Zach Wilson, 51 North Main Street. So, yeah, I mean, I think that for reasons that I previously said during the testimony of the hearing, I think that, we may have acted rashly. Again, I don't relish your position of being in there. However, I think that there are points within this that while you can't speak to the details, raise public concern. There are comments in your list that talk about public safety. And the fact that you're unable to give us details on that makes me worried about what may have occurred, about what aspects of public safety we as the public should be concerned about. Also, not for nothing, Mayor, I think that severance packages are always part of the budget. Wrongful termination suits are typically not. So while we may not have a budgetary impact from a shared services agreement, if we did not follow the letter of the law in releasing Mr. Hornicle, if there is any substance to what he's talking about that he's able to prove in court, that will have a negative impact on us. And given the suddenness of how quickly council came to make the decision on March 17th to take that action, one wonders whether some more investigatory work before taking such action would have been warranted so that, again, you mitigate further any possibilities of wrongful termination. Especially given that you would have had a 30-day time period in which to schedule the hearing, et cetera. Once you take those actions, your hands are tied from a timing standpoint. So that's when you take that action to suspend or to file the initial thing that we did back on March 17th. You know that starts the clock. And if you don't have all of your ducks in a row, then you can have a problem. So I just hope that you did have those ducks in a row, because if you didn't and we end up having to pay out of a very limited budget, as we've all been talking about, because you screwed it up, then that absolutely is going to be remembered on Election Day. And it's not going to be the things that you guys have done really well since taking office, because you have. And I want to emphasize that. You've done some great things since taking office. I know you're taking a bunch of crap up here in the last couple months, but you've done some good things since taking office. This will be your legacy if you screwed that up. So I really hope that you didn't and that you took the right action here. Outside of that, it'd be great if we could get back to the subcommittee findings and maybe get get Main Street repaved and lined for parking.
Can I comment on that?
Certainly, in
Yeah.
terms of doing anything improper or nefarious, we certainly have not.
Yeah.
But
And I'm sorry, Zach. I would encourage everyone to go back to the March 17th meeting. You really only have to get through probably the first 20 minutes of it to understand that matters were deliberated upon up to and including the March 17th meeting. So, again, as a body, decisions were made at that time, and I'm very confident that the conversations that we had in executive that are unfortunately confidential don't put us at any risk. So, but
every firing manager feels the same, and every
Yeah.
HR department guarees that they're not at risk. So
Right.
that doesn't mean that wrongful termination suits don't succeed all the time.
Correct.
In relation to your comments both here and previously about Main Street Subcommittee, okay? So don't hold me to it, but we have a approved striping plan for Main Street. When we talked at the subcommittee, there was discussions about repaving Main Street. And as you know, you live right there, when they went to go repave Main Street, it was more, it wasn't a complete job.
Yeah,
They
I hear
did
that
do
they don't do
repaving, but it was not the entirety of the road. That is what we are provided at this point, with no plan to do additional repaving. So striping is our next step. We have the approved stripe. I don't want to speak for Mr. Knoll, but I know he's been working with the county to get the final delineation made. Members of that subcommittee went back out just to make sure it was it me, you, Ed, and Pola, just to, like we walked it again, right? We added,
In the
Can we
cold.
send him a copy?
yeah, it's,
I'm sure Ed'll send it to me.
Yeah,
He probably has
yeah.
it in my
Make,
inbox.
yeah, get a copy from him. Yeah.
like, we were very concerned about, there was a curb cut with a handicap spot. There was some line, we talked about the lines that notate between a driveway and a parking spot.
The fire hydrant.
The fire hydrant wasn't properly delineated, we added that. And if you're making a right off of, forgive me, Branch Street onto North Main, it's very shallow there, and we actually,
We got a couple additional.
we added a
spots.
spot somewhere, and we removed a spot. So, yeah, it was like as fine-tuned as we could possibly get. We're now, I believe it's a resolution for the road program, isn't it, to go out to bid on that, or?
Yeah, 99% positive.
There's definitely actions
Yeah.
being taken by this council
Love to
to
hear.
approve that plan and get the vendor to kind of get going on that. I hope that helps.
Yeah, no, it does.
Yeah.
I appreciate the update. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Yep. Okay, just to be fair, you did have your hand up for a long time. I do want to get to you. And then I saw two hands in the back. I'm sorry if I'm losing track of hands, but you ready?
State your name.
Bela Finkelstein, and do address.
Nope, just take it
Okay.
away.
Hi, this is my first time in any way interacting with local township. And this past hour has definitely left me with a bad first impression. It just feels like this decision was rushed, or maybe not. I feel as though some of the other citizens' opinions and voices were not taken into consideration as much as I wish they were. And it also feels as though, I don't know, like just hearing about the budget cuts or like the possible budget cuts definitely isn't a great thing to hear the first time you're walking into a town meeting. So that's basically all I had to say. Yeah, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Brian, I'm so sorry. The young lady behind you had her hand up.
I can't follow you anyway.
Yeah,
We can talk about anything, right?
anything.
I'm not talking about all that.
Hi, Amy Bozak, Pine Boulevard. I know there's been a lot of talk about the garbage situation in town.
The what? I'm sorry.
Do we have any?
Garbage.
The
Garbage,
garbage,
thank you.
sorry.
That's right.
I know Republic is not doing half of what they're supposed to be doing. Like me personally, it's supposed to get picked up on Fridays. It wasn't picked up till the following Tuesday, and now it's following Monday, so we don't know if we're gonna get picked up again on Friday. And it just seems like the whole town is half getting picked up and, partly getting picked up or whatever. I mean, is there any recourse to get money back from them because they're not doing their job? I mean, if I wasn't doing my job at my work, there would be consequences to that. So I didn't know, like, we're all talking budget. Is there a way to get money back for that? Or I know there was talk before about bringing it back in-house, because that's been, 20 years that was stopped. I know that cost money to get trucks and training and all of that, and I know it was discussed months ago at one of the meetings I was at. I just don't know if there's any recourse, if there's other companies we can use besides Republic, because they just don't really seem to care about. I went for a walk the other day, and it was, I hate to say it was disgusting. Everywhere I walked in the neighborhood, you pass a house, and it was when it was hot. And it just smelled, and there were flies, and it was just disgusting. So I just wanted to bring it up. I know
Chief
it's,
has an update from a financial standpoint, if you'd like to share.
Yeah. So I was going to bring it up,
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, as part of our, the manager's report, but as a resident and the acting manager, I'm very well aware of this, the missed trash collection. So we've demanded a meeting with Republic to discuss all of the recent issues. We're also seeking liquidated damages in accordance with the contract that we have with Republic. And the last time we went out to bid for trash collection and went out later, we're looking at going out earlier and also additional options to trash collection to improve the service. So we were looking at possibly a meeting on Friday. We're probably going to look at, ended up the way schedules align, possibly Monday to sit down with Republic. We're also aware that a number of residents have called into their call center, and it seems like when the calls come in and all of their operators are busy, you get disconnected, which is not acceptable. At minimum, you should be placed on hold or at least put into a queue like you are with other call centers.
Yeah, I've talked to plenty of people that said they've called or called Medford Township, and they've said to call Republic, but it's kind of like we pay Medford.
Right.
If I had a contractor at my house and they hire a subcontractor, I'm not going to go call the subcontractor because they're not doing their job and calling who I'm paying. So it kind of goes hand in hand.
Yep, and Republic was supposed to have had extra trucks in town Monday this week to finish pickups from last week. Their excuse to us was mechanical breakdowns. Obviously, again, they're a large corporation. That's not really a great excuse, just like last July when it was a driver shortage.
Right.
So this is very reminiscent of last July's issues, but they have been receptive to us. I can tell you our Director of Public Works had 121 voicemails last week on Friday, and we actually discussed, like, if you literally spend 5 minutes returning each of those voicemails, you're almost a full day so he was trying to return as many as he could. I know I returned a number of residents' concerns. We're going to keep getting back to the residents, and hopefully by our next council meeting, we should have an additional update as to where we made out with the meeting with Republic.
Great, that sounds great. Thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you, ma'am. We're very sorry about the trash.
Yeah.
All right.
I left here and I was watching everything on my phone, so.
This is full public comment, Brian.
Thank you.
Go for
I
it.
had to come back up here.
Yeah.
I wanted to touch on what she said about the trash. It is terrible. Everybody knows. You guys probably are having problems too. Why not maybe possibly, do we still have one trash truck when they fall? Okay. I mean, I think at some point, because we're at their mercy, I think Republic's going to laugh or whatever. It's not going to hurt them. I think that, to really get out of this, you guys might consider passing a referendum and going back to in-house. I don't know how the community's going to feel about the taxes.
We'll call it the Brian Carnes referendum.
Don't mention me, but the services do. The services are terrible.
No,
what are we doing? I don't think they're going to improve.
We're exploring every possible option.
When they pick up my trash, they drop hydraulic fluid like you wouldn't believe. I feel like my trash is gone, but I got a gallon of hydraulic
Get new
fluid.
garbage instead.
Whatever the case is. I want to touch on something I think Zach even said too. As council, things have improved hugely here. 5 years ago, it was a mess. I know this process of what you're doing now, people are upset. I'm not one of them, and it's a weird thing that goes on here with the community because people see and feel different things. I did see, I think it was his nephew that came up here. I apologize to the family. What the family needs to understand is he hurt our family. He did. And that's simple as that. I just paid my last quarter of my taxes. Guys, I'm grinding my teeth at some of this stuff. I just am. And Dan came up and mentioned Pemberton. I can speak about Pemberton now. Thank you.
You can speak
All right,
about
and
it.
he
We're
said,
not
well,
going to comment on it.
no, it's
but
cool.
It has
Listen,
nothing to do
he
with
said
Mr.
that
Mark.
his position's different there, and that the mayor's the boss, and I understood what he meant there. But there was a pretty big article written, okay, and I want the community to understand. So I'm just let's make this Medford. Well, we're in Pemberton. Let's just say I'm going to make a quick example, okay? So you're the big bad mayor. You can't keep your hands to yourself. Even though I spent time with you, you didn't try anything with me, okay? But you're that guy, right? You're in trouble. He's in a lot of trouble.
Wait, I'm sorry, Brian, come on. You're not referring to me personally, are
No,
you?
I'm giving an example
okay,
so
thank
everybody
you.
understands what happened in Pemberton, okay? So you're the big bad wolf, okay? And these women that are working paycheck to paycheck, they have to go to work. And they were terrorized in so many different ways. It's all out there. There's even a mention of a rape room in Pemberton, okay, that the township somehow was tied into. Just crazy stuff, guys, okay? So now they're coming after you. They get together. You need an attorney, right? you're not going to go hire an attorney out of your own pocket and pay for it. So you go to the township solicitor. I believe this is exactly what happens. I don't know if it's the same firm. Somebody comes in, they start representing you, but you got to keep that billing quiet, right? Every month you have to put out the report. Somebody's looking at it. My understanding, it's alleged, okay, but it was in the paper that all the filing for the lawyers' bills was hidden in miscellaneous stuff that people normally wouldn't look at, okay? There's only one person that would have done that, and that's the manager, and he was named in that, okay? I think, once again, what happened over in Pemberton is important here. It's completely disgusting, and I heard him say, look, like, you know, I couldn't do anything. I don't know anybody in this room that would stand by and be around anybody that is sexually harassing women, talking down to them like they're nothing, okay, and not do something. Come on, man. I'm going to put my hands on you at some point. If I can't go to the prosecutor's office, you would be protected under a whistleblower act, I believe. I really do. So that's why I'm here. I do really respect Ray and Kathy for voting no. I understand this is a crazy process here and the way it's going down, but I also look at it as, well, it's a big, bad breakup, right? And you got to rip that Band-Aid off, and you guys just can't be around each other from there. That's all I wanted to say, and I hope the community understands that there was a lot more going on, and that I don't believe we should have ever hired him. And it's not even just his performance here. It's just everything stinks. And the Pemberton connection in Medford is just crazy. It goes back and forth. A lot of business was done. All right. Am I out of time?
You got about 20 seconds left.
All right. 20 seconds left. All right. Once again, I really, really do. I do have something really nice to say to you, Mike, okay? The Fur Baby event. You put that together. A lot of people don't know. The old account, a lot of you, Ray, Kathy, Voorhees, you weren't here. You were, and you guys helped. I put you in touch with that lady, Ann, from Burlington County Friends. I thought it was going to be a joke. She was going to get blown off. My understanding is Dan did work with her and stuff like that. But I do commend council for putting that event together. It sucks I missed it. But, and everything else you're doing, it's just overshadowed by some crazy nonsense, like usual, but whatever the case is. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Brian. You can't win them all.
Shout out to Angela for that one.
Yeah,
too,
yeah,
for
Brian,
being-
we got to give Ange all the credit there.
Angela's remarkable.
Yeah. Okay, so we are still on the public comment section for the 5:30 hearing. Would anyone else like to speak during this public comment section, ma'am?
Hi, Diana Rossi. I just have a quick question. What is the process that you will use to hire a new township administrator?
For a township manager?
Township manager, the person who's going to be part-time, that he might be filling in for 30 days. Is he a guarantee that he's going to be in? Will you be interviewing other people? Everybody has a political party. It'd be nice if there was someone who was an independent or someone who isn't really involved in their political party so that we don't have this angst.
There's been zero decision to hire a township manager.
Well, what is going to be the process?
It has not been discussed.
Is there a general process that would be
I think it's
normally
fair.
used?
Both Councilwoman Milk and I were present during, we were basically thrown into it when Mrs. Berger retired.
Right.
Mr. Chernecki had stepped in as not only was he acting or interim manager, and his firm was the hiring entity for the manager. There was much turnover at that time, as you may recall. This is me personally. I don't feel as though you can really do both of those jobs, handle the day-to-day and look for a replacement. It's just you need too much. Right. There's too much going on. So at least my hope is that Chief Dovey, with administrative support, can maintain the workforce and the hierarchy of the town, and then a process, as Mr. Vargas stated, which has not been discussed yet, can be executed outside of that day-to-day process. It was 8 months, I believe. It was exhausting, and that person was trying to not only run the town, which now Mr. Dovey, with administrative support, is running the town. That person also finding a replacement manager was a very tough asked.
And also other key employees.
Other key employees, I think there was
Tax
7
assessor.
total.
Yeah, I
that-
know you lost a lot of employees, or
Yeah.
they retired, whatever.
Yeah. So we're,
Yeah.
at this very moment, as Mr. Vargas stated, we're looking for just stability in the department, and that way we can get through the budget cycle, we can get to a point where all members of council can have input on what that process looks like, who's interviewed, and how those applications are presented to us.
Okay, but there will be interviews.
There'll be a full process.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone else for this section of public comment? Okay.
I just have a couple questions to ask. My name is Mary Ann Holloway. I'm sorry, I remember it. Mr. Dovey, I'd asked you a question at the last meeting. You're doing 2 jobs right now,
Yes,
and you're not getting paid anything for the additional work that you're doing?
No, I didn't request any
Why?
additional compensation.
I know you didn't request it, but that's quite unusual. So why?
You're asking me why we haven't provided additional compensation?
Because he's doing 2 jobs.
Yep.
He's not working a 40. He's doing an excellent job. In the past, other people have been paid additional compensation. We have a situation where you're doing shared services, adding $90,000 to the budget. You're saying there's a differential because it's actually lower when we're paying the manager, we're not paying Mr. Dovey additional. And here we have a gentleman working over and beyond, 2 jobs, something's got to give. You got $90,000 being sent over to Southampton. That $90,000 you're saying is lower than what you would be paying, for 2 jobs. Why is that happening? It's not logical.
Yep.
On a managerial level, it's not logical.
We've discussed opportunities to compensate Mr. Dovey for his additional job responsibilities. We haven't made final decisions on that yet, but they've been discussed by members of council.
All right, so what I'm going to say very politely. Mr. Amba is not being hired, he's being placed. And we all know it, and I think that's the words people are trying to do. At one meeting, I sat there, watched Mr. Amba, as he always sits in the back of the room and outside of camera range. The night when the in need of redevelopment was passed, I watched Mr. Amba walk across the room and congratulate D.R. Horton and pat him on the back. My professional opinion is he's being placed. And I think nobody said it clear enough. And it's very clear. The reason why I'm making that statement is that in the beginning of this year, there was a situation where in 2025, people on the planning board seats were left blank. They weren't appointed. And I don't know that I need to go into the rest because I think most of council understands what happened. And it looks like it's deja vu all over again. I have a lot of respect for all of you. I do. But it's obvious. And if anybody in this town thinks that Mr. Amba isn't going to become the next manager, I have a farm to sell him. So I'm just voicing it. Mr. Dovey, you deserve a lot more than what's happening. I give you a lot of respect. I really do.
Thank you.
I don't think it's fair, and I'm sure you're whatever you're saying, but it's obvious what's happening. Nobody is blind. Nobody is blinded. So I just want to let you know it's apparent. I'm disappointed. I'm really disappointed because I thought there was a turn. I had so much hope. It's a 3-2 constantly, and I do have a lot of respect for people here. I just want to let you know that we know. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Motion to close.
motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, public comments closed. Motion to adjourn.
Correct.
So moved.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that public hearing is closed.
Now